This is the best plot addition. Moreover, to some extent, it is even better than the main game. This is Metro Exodus: The Two Colonels DLC. The story of Colonel Vyacheslav Khlebnikov, in my opinion, is the most dramatic in the entire Metro series. From the first minutes, we find ourselves in the oppressive atmosphere of the Novosibirsk metro, which is surrounded by slime and wild mutants. Colonel Khlebnikov is not just a staff worm who doesn't get out of the office. He, along with everyone, gets busy and makes forays to clean the tunnels and metro communications. The game begins with such a foray. The flamethrower is ready, the cylinders with the incendiary mixture are installed, and the gas mask and overalls are available. We are going to clean up. Everywhere this abomination flows, drips, grows, and even attacks. From time to time it is difficult, because you imagine yourself in the place of the main character, walking forward knee-deep in radioactive mud, because he has to. There are many obstacles in this dark labyrinth. It is difficult not to get confused, but the mission must be accomplished. In general, the Novosibirsk metro is gradually turning into a large massive grave, which can be filled in at any second. There are reasons for this, the main one being radiation on the surface, which gradually seeps down. Workers talk with the fear that pumps fail, gaskets and mechanisms fail, and replacing them soon will be simply nothing, and then the entire metro will turn into a continuous cemetery, above which the dosimeter will crack loudly. No one wants to suffer such a fate. Everyone believes that somehow it will be resolved. Maybe it will resolve itself, maybe someone will save, or maybe a miracle will happen. Locals use green stuff as a radio protector. It has already become something of a local treasure. It is received for certain services to the people, for work, and as a basic norm. Many locals are trying to accumulate it, some for further speculation, some for their children. Khlebnikov's comrade, Mikhail Petrovich, for example, collects a small untouched supply for his granddaughter. On the eve of New Year 2035, Anatoly, the head of the station and lieutenant general of the Oscom Rapid Response Group, calls Khlebnikov to him. The heart-to-heart conversation is about a difficult situation in the metro as a whole. People are discontented and nervous, and riots can break out at the slightest provocation. And all because of the fact that there is so little green stuff left. The men share their feelings about how everything is unfolding and what are the disappointed prospects of evacuating the metro to clean lands. But the new year is a family holiday, so Khlebnikov goes to his son Kirill with the hopes for the best. Kirill happily gives his father a watch, a New Year's gift. In a few months, the situation became even worse. People from dirty, radioactive stations began to be stabbed because they felt that the management has already abandoned them or wanted to abandon. Oscom began to collect surplus green stuff from civilians and traders. Nervous, despair and anger fall in an avalanche of the Novosibirsk metro. The uprising turns the station into a bloodbath. Rebels storm relatively clean stations by all means. Khlebnikov, together with the Oscom fighters, is trying to hold back the onslaught. But there will be plot spoilers ahead, so if you haven't played the Two Colonels DLC yet, I suggest you to play it as soon as possible, but only after completing Metro Exodus. For all those who know what will happen next, I will continue. Chlorine is sprayed at the station. Rebels and survived Oscom fighters die from poisonous gases, and Khlebnikov is saved by one of his subordinates. However, after both go up the escalator to the pavilion, we see a cutscene in which Khlebnikov learns from Anatoly that the command has abandoned everyone without exception. Even he himself was abandoned by his command, who fled in the first, and, as it turned out, the only echelon, taking the green stuff with them. Sergei, Anatoly's son, died. So, the Lieutenant General orders his subordinates to take the RPG and stop the train with a command at the crossroads. And after all these terrible events, Khlebnikov goes in search of satellite maps, hoping that he will be able to find information about a safe and radiation-free road to Baikal. He talks to his son, instructing him in a fatherly manner to eat liver and not go to dirty stations, and enters the bunker. The dark insides here, and there have the inscriptions: checked, no maps found. So the groups looking for maps have done half the work. But only way or another, you have to look. Notifications about damage to the reactor and the ventilation system begin to work eerily and monotonously, and monsters begin to attack from everywhere. Khlebnikov fires hordes of mutants and finally finds the stalker's corpse, clutching a tube of maps that have the necessary information. However, radiation contamination in the bunker reaches unspeakably high levels, and the colonel gradually loses the strength to move. And now, near hermetic gates, Khlebnikov takes out the last ampoule of green stuff to give himself an injection. At this moment, Blind One grabs him. Khlebnikov saves himself, but the ampoule is broken. Our hero sits down, looks at the watch presented by his son, and says,
Kirill, I'm coming back. I just need a tiny bit of rest.
After that, Khlebnikov is found by Colonel Miller, and these maps and the broken green stuff. 4A Games made a very dramatic story, in which the characters were revealed quite quickly and fully, so that you understand their feelings and their mistakes and really sympathize. This, in fact, is the main and most difficult task of any story. Not to be drawn out, to be interesting, and to reveal the main characters in such a way that the user feels the necessary range of emotions. Therefore, despite the rather one-sided gameplay and a rather short plot, this story is fully revealed and grips the player. If you have already played Metro Exodus DLC, share your impressions in the comments. It will be interesting to know which part you liked more and why. Also subscribe to my channel if you haven't already, and see you in the next videos.